Hello friends, I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed. How are you doing today? This week we are discussing starting a new business, or starting a startup in my instance, and I thought we'd go through the process of starting a new business and why I'm doing it the way I am. So this is episode 1, and episode 1 is essentially the first step to starting any new business venture is determining whether you need to do that. There are quite a few instances, and it's completely location specific on whether or not you even need to start a business. For instance, if you were just going to do an activity for money, say you're going to be a professional grass cutter, you might not need to start a business in your particular area. You might be just fine cutting grass and then filing on your taxes. Because you are the only employee, as a sole employee, as you being the business of yourself, you're already a business. That's why you have a Social Security number, so that you can file taxes. You just have to report that money as income, and you're a business. At least that's the case in West Virginia. Other business types do certain things for the type of business that they are, and we'll get into that in tomorrow's episode. The next thing that you need to determine if you're going to start this business is, do you have anybody else involved? If the answer is yes, then you need to start a business. All right? You could, I assume, band together as a group of individuals to do jobs and split up the money and move on with your lives, but that's a recipe for freaking disaster. If you've ever been a part of a school partnership, school project where a group of people had to do something, you'll know that does not work ever. Working together is difficult, and there needs to be legal precedents in place to perform that, to do that. So having a business set up, having a business structure clearly defined is extremely important. Don't say we've been friends forever, it's going to be fine. No, it won't. I promise you it won't. It's never fine. Ever. So, if you have a partner, get a business. If you plan on hiring people, then you probably need to get a business. That being said, you can hire people as an individual, hire somebody to clean your house. You don't need to make a business to do that, but that's completely different. If you're going to hire somebody to clean somebody else's house, you need to have a business set up. Once you've determined, yes, I need to start a business, then the process begins with first figuring out what the licensing procedure is in your area. In the state of West Virginia, no matter how I file my business, it's all reported to the Secretary of State and accounted for with the state tax department. You have to apply with state and local tax departments. So I don't live in a city, but my city might have a tax department that I have to report to if my business is within those city limits. My county might have specific tax accounting that I need to take into consideration before anything transpires, and the state. So in West Virginia, my state and my state tax department are essentially who I need to notify. If I was going to have an open business and conduct business in the city limits, then I have to let the city know that I'm doing this and get a business license and all that sort of stuff for the city. That's completely separate, right? You're going to pay taxes all over the place when it comes to starting a business, and you'll learn that very quickly as a small business, because it's if Google came to Fairmont, West Virginia and set up a business, they're, $100 a year for filing fees and whatever their tax percent, that's like nothing to them. But to somebody who's starting with nothing, that's a big deal. Like, who all do I have to pay to go through this procedure? And I think that, there's a culture of paying the least amount possible, right, in the business world. So do your due diligence, figure out who you need to register with, and register. Once you figure that information out, you need to find a name for your business. And here we can simply search on the state's database and see if my name is already taken. If it is, you can't do it. You can only have one legally registered name per location. In the United States, it's per state. It's registered on a state basis. Trademarks and that sort of thing are on a national basis, and corporations, I believe, fall under that. That's a completely different issue. We're not talking about starting a corporation. If you're starting a corporation, you probably don't need to be watching me. So once you've got a name, then you can start the whole filing process. The filing process in my state begins with the federal government. You first have to get what's known as an FEIN number, which is a Federal Employee Identification Number. It's essentially a piece of paper that looks like it was printed in the 80s, and it gives you essentially a tax ID number as an employer. All right, so the FEIN number can be used in lieu of your Social Security number to represent your business. That's all it is. It's how your business would file taxes. It is how your business would file with Social Security, pay unemployment, all that sort of stuff. In my state, if I'm going to do anything other than a proprietorship, I have to have an FEIN. I don't know if that's true everywhere. I just know that's true here. Once I have the FEIN, which it's literally like 10 minutes, you go on the thing, you fill out how you plan to conduct business, what type of business. And this is all done at like irs.gov. You can go register to get an employee identification number, fill out this questionnaire about your business name, your business address, contact information, what type of business business categories. So you got to figure out, am I in agriculture? Am I in manufacturing? Am I whatever? Pick your business category, then your business subcategory. You'll go through this whole menu tree of what your business is until you figure it out. And then whether you're going to have employees or not, it'll tell you, like, if you're going to have employees, you need to say yes, yada, yada, yada. And then you hit enter and you essentially have it right there on the screen. Like, you don't have to wait. They don't mail you anything. You just get this number assigned to you. And that's what, in my state, I use to get my LLC. I registered my business as an LLC. And to do that, I have to register the business as its own tax entity, which is a bit confusing, as we'll see tomorrow. So I'll stop there. Finding a name, determining whether you need a business, finding a name, and registering that business are the steps to starting this whole process. Tomorrow we'll talk about the types of businesses you might want to start and why. So thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being my friends. I am excited to start this business adventure, and it's been really fun. I'll see you tomorrow.
Hey, Doc, wait! I want to ask you something.
Today's random fact comes from water.usgs.gov. How much of Earth's fresh water is in ice sheets? The amount of water locked up in ice and snow is only about 1.7% of all water on the Earth, but the majority of total fresh water on Earth is about 68.7% is held in ice caps and glaciers. Wow.